Hello, dear students. I heartily welcome you all for yet another e-session. Today, we are going to discuss a very important and notable content in composition part, that is linkers. Let us check the definition. The words that make sentences and paragraph remain integrated, logical, and intelligible. Please lay stress on these three words that are there in this definition. The words which will make the paragraph remain integrated. Integrated means united. Logical. Logical means relevant and correct. And finally, intelligible. The linkers help the paragraph sound intelligible. That means because the sentences are connected and they are connected logically, it makes the paragraph sound intelligible as we read this particular paragraph, which has the usage of linkers in it. So I hope you have understood the definition here. Let us move on to the examples. There are a lot of examples as far as linkers is concerned. Linkers are such words that are used in a particular sequence as we write a paragraph. As you all know, when we write a paragraph, we need to have a proper flow, that is introduction, the main content discussion, and finally conclusion. So when this flow is happening, we also need to use linkers accordingly. So linkers belong to a particular sequence, that is beginning linkers be it, the mid linkers be it, the contrasting linkers be it, or concluding linkers be it. So according to flow, I shall explain the examples here. The first one is sequence linkers. What are these linkers? Well, when we are writing a paragraph, if we are giving one or two introductory lines, as we go on giving those introductory lines, we need to use these sequence linkers, such as firstly, first of all, to begin with, etc. So whenever you write a particular paragraph, when you begin the paragraph with an opening line, soon after the opening line, you start the second sentence. So you start giving the additional information to that. So when you start doing that, you are in a particular sequence. So firstly, so and so. First of all, so and so, etc. Secondly, thirdly, then, etc. The next stage, further, subsequently, after that, all of a sudden, meanwhile, finally, lastly, eventually. These are sequence linkers. If at all you are writing the first point after the opening line, you can use firstly. If at all you are writing the second important point in the paragraph, then you can use secondly, so on and so forth. Let us look at additional information linkers. Linkers that will help you mention the additional information in your paragraph. Soon after the first opening line, that is first line, you will use firstly or secondly or so on and so forth. Soon after that, if you go on adding the information, the linkers as these will prove out to be very helpful, such as apart from, in addition to, moreover, on top of that, besides, furthermore, and, as well as, etc. So these are the words that will help us build two sentences, especially when additional information is introduced. followed by contrasting linkers. The linkers that are used to join two sentences, the second one being a contrasting line in the paragraph. In spite of, despite, although, in contrast, whereas, but, yet, however, etc. So these are the linkers that can be used just before contrasting statement in the paragraph. The next example is linkers when you introduce a reason, a statement having a reason, because, since, on account of, in order to, so as to, due to, owing to, so that, etc. Usually when you write a paragraph, you assume you are writing, soon after additional information, you have written a sentence, I visited college, then you have to use a reason. Why did you visit your college? I visited the college because I had a class to engage. So I had a class to engage is a sentence which is nothing but reason. So when you introduce reason, words like because, since, on account of, in order to, so as to, due to, owing to, so that, these, either of these words can be used. I'm sure you're following me as I explain these examples. Personal opinion. When you want to give away your personal opinions in your paragraph, you usually use the linkers such as I feel, from my point of view, actually, as a matter of fact, in fact, I agree, I disagree, as far as I am concerned, in my opinion, in my view, I think, I feel, to be honest. These are the words or the phrases. So when you use these words, the next line, the next statement has to be personal opinion. So your account you're giving as far as the topic is concerned. So when you do that, just before that statement, please use any of these words or phrases. Next comes explanatory linkers. So these are the linkers that are used just before the explanatory sentence. For example, that is to say, in other words, above all, at least, basically, especially, essentially, in general, in particular, more or less, on the whole, to a certain extent, etc. So any of the phrase, any of these following phrases, if you use when you are explaining something, that becomes a correct and intelligible sentence. The next one is exemplifying. So when you are giving some examples in the sentence to the already said information, these are the linkers that you can opt for. For example, for instance, such as, etc. So these are the words or phrases that you can use when you are introducing a sentence carrying examples. The next one is summarizing. Linkers that are used to summarize the whole content. All in all, in brief, in conclusion, hence, therefore, thus, in a nutshell, in short, in brevity, in terseness, in conciseness, in succinctness, in curtness, to sum up, thusly, etc. So either of these words or phrases can be used when you are summing up the whole content, that is the final line that when you are writing, you can use either of these accordingly. That means if you are summing up, you can say in a nutshell. So if you are summing up with a reason, you can use therefore, and then you can state your summarizing line. So accordingly, you have to pick and use the words or phrases of summarizing linkers. I hope you have understood the examples here. I had to skim through just because these were just examples. So as we go through the exercise, I shall explain you how the linkers are used. So this is how you will get this question in your annual examination. There will be a paragraph given with blanks where linkers are to be mentioned. So the correct mention of these linkers will give you 4 marks. So a very important content as far as composition or grammar is concerned in your examination. But as far as composition is concerned, if you master this art of using linkers, then I'm sure you will be very good at composing 4 mark, 6 mark answers, that is lengthy answers, be it paragraph answers or essay answers. So linkers are not merely helpful in grammar content question number 30 in your annual examination, but also it can prove to be very important component in your grammar part as far as composition is concerned. Now 4 marks question, 6 marks question, a report writing, your speech writing, etc. So even letter writing, the body of letter when you write, these words will prove to be very helpful. So master the art of using linkers and you shall be master of the language itself. So coming back to the exercise here, let us read, I shall read this particular paragraph for you. The special revenue came from a gaming house, dash, people played roulette. Some of the little German sovereigns used to keep gaming houses of the same kind, dash, some years ago. They were forbidden to do so. The reason they were stopped was these gaming houses did so much harm. A man would come and try his luck. Dash, he would risk all he had and lose it. So without linkers, how pale the sentences sound, how incorrect the sentences or the paragraphs sound. So with the correct use of linkers, how correct the paragraphs sound, let us check. Okay, so let us use befitting linkers here. So the linkers that are given in jumbled order here are because, then, where, but. These are the 4 linkers. You need to pick the correct ones. So let us check the answers. Where, but, because, then. So I'll read the paragraph once again with the usage of these linkers, which will help the paragraph sound intelligible, which is a correct form of paragraph, which will be correct form of paragraph after the usage of linkers. The one that is provided to you is unintelligible paragraph because the linkers are missing here. So let us fill them and reread the content. The special revenue came from a gaming house where people played roulette. Some of the little German sovereigns used to keep gaming houses of the same kind, but some years ago they were forbidden to do so. The reason they were stopped was because these gaming houses did so much harm. A man would come and try his luck. Then he would risk all he had and lose it. So this is how you need to use the linkers in correct order, so that you will be getting 4 marks completely. So let's check the second exercise here. I shall read the paragraph without the usage of linkers first. Vandana Shiva started to save seeds from farmers' fields. Dash, she realized that a farm was needed for demonstration and training. Dash Navadanya farm was started. Dash many varieties of seeds were conserved in this farm. Dash practice and promote biodiversity intensive form of farming. So these are the jumbled linkers that are provided to you. We need to use them in a correct order. Let us check the answers. Then, as a result, thus, in order to. So Vandana Shiva started to save seeds from farmers' fields. Then she realized that a farm was needed for demonstration and training. As a result, Navadanya farm was started. Thus, many varieties of seeds were conserved in this farm in order to practice and promote biodiversity intensive form of farming. So this is the second exercise for you all, just for a better understanding. Now the task is in your hand to write an assignment. There are 2 paragraphs that are given to you. Please note that there are 2 different paragraphs with 2 set of different linkers. So use them accordingly. Write the assignment on linkers at the earliest and send them within a day's time. So until then, I hope you have understood linkers. So I shall come up with a new topic in the next session. So until then, thank you so much, dear students, for your patient listening. I hope the session was fruitful enough. I'm sure you're taking care of yourselves as well as your people, that is kith and kin. Good day.